Some people are going through what I like to call the messy middle. I also refer to it as that caterpillar to the chrysalis to the butterfly stage. And the thing about it is, when you're going through that, you really don't want to talk to people about it because honestly, you really feel that they're not going to get it anyway. And so sometimes what many do is that they will isolate. They will really have these thoughts that just keep going through their head over and over again because sometimes you just have to get it out. And the ways that you can get it out, of course, is you can write it down. You can start to journal. You can even write a letter, a note to yourself saying, when I get through this, I am going to, and you plan ahead in a good way, in a positive way, with expectancy, with optimism. You are looking forward to the future. Because if you don't have anything to look forward to, then that moment can seem like you just don't know when it's going to end. So you have to start planning for your next steps. You have to plan for the victory that actually belongs to you as a woman of faith, as a daughter of God, and yes, as a son of God too. You have to do it in the moment also, being thankful, being grateful. I like to say, celebrate your now on the way to your next. Because in this world, a lot of people keep looking for the next. And yeah, we want to get to the next too. But what I've discovered is we have to also be grateful for the now, for the thing that you gained, even though you didn't realize it. That's called resilience. That's called grit. It's called determination. And those things matter because sometimes you're in the messy middle. It doesn't look like anything you thought it would. As a matter of fact, you look kind of interesting to some people right now. They're like, what in the world is going on with her? What is he doing? Why are they even going after that? Wasn't he a doctor? Wasn't he a lawyer? And you hear these stories of people who were in these careers, even as professionals, and we are professionals. But sometimes you end up in the midst of a pivot and it's not anything that you ask for. Now, if you are a person who is a kingdom believer, a person of faith, someone who loves God, you have to realize you don't always get to ask for the pivot. You don't always expect it. It's going to happen whether you want it to or not. And so the best thing for you to do in those moments is to be pliable, is to be bendable, not to be like, I don't want to do this and to become stiff. Don't do that. I've learned, and that's just some advice, is to really go with the pivot, go with the shift. And even if it looks like it's taking you a bit to get there, you have to recognize that you are going somewhere, that every small step leads you to a bigger thing, whatever that is. And for those of you who even took your gifts, your purpose, your destiny, that thing when people said when you were younger, what do you want to do? For me, it was always singing. I was going to write songs, travel the world. And I sang before lots and lots and lots and lots of people. And I wrote these songs and all of these things. But you pick that back up too, because in your creativity, you're going to find like this strength that comes from it. I would sing when I was going through like the most difficult things. I wasn't just singing to myself. I was singing to an audience of one. So I was singing before God, but then there were people who were in the seats who were listening as well. And a lot of times I would just close my eyes and I would go for it. And I would just sing through the pain. I would sing through the uncertainty. I would sing through what I didn't understand. But what I was doing, along with just singing, was that it was an act of faith. It was an act of saying, God, I'll still praise you. I'll still sing. I'll still give you glory. I'll still lift up, the praises and the worship before you because you know about my life much more than I do. And one thing that he doesn't do is he doesn't make mistakes. So if you, my dear friend, are in the midst of the messy moments, the messy middle, that season where you look or someone's looking at you like, ew, what is going on with them? That I like to call that caterpillar phase. Just know, even if it seems like you're going slowly, that you're going somewhere. And the caterpillar never knew that it was going to become a butterfly. It just thought it was going to be down there just inching along for its entirety, but that wasn't the plan. And I think it's amazing that God in his infinite wisdom doesn't just say like, This is a brush. This will always be a brush, right? It's not going to change into a comb. But he shows us something through the life of a caterpillar becoming a butterfly, that there's something powerful about the transformation that comes from him. And he can give you a new name. Starts off as a caterpillar, but it does not become a butterfly until it goes through that process and through that transformation. Well, what about you? Maybe there was a period of time in your life where people called you a victim. And I don't like that word. If you look it up, it's like a sacrifice of a person. I don't like that word, right? But maybe you felt like you were there too. But being in that space does not mean that as you make changes, and I have to say this because this is what I say to my clients, like you have to really be intentional about your healing, about your transformation, about going forth. You have to literally, once again, look ahead and say, yeah, where this is right now, it does not look necessarily like I want to. And maybe you're not there now, but you've been there before. Maybe you know somebody who's going through that right now. I want you to share this with them. Share this video and this message. It's more than just a video, it's a message. Share this message of hope with them because the world needs more hope. People need to know that they can make it, that they should not give up. Because if the caterpillar were alive, and I have this in chapter 4 of my book called Don't Give Up, like I'm having an interview with this caterpillar. But if when it got bad and people were like about to step on it, or somebody else took a stick and was like, oh, look at this caterpillar. Ew, you see it. And they're all looking at it and they pick it up. Ew, and they're just making fun of it. And in this book, the caterpillar says, I'm not yucky. I'm not ugly. I was made this way by my maker, right? So regardless of how people see you, it's not how God sees you. If you're going through a difficult moment, a season, or maybe you're even looking at yourself in a certain light because of something that happened, there are some stats that are saying that there are over 300,000, I'm sorry, women who lost their jobs. And I was speaking to a friend of mine and she said it's up to 600,000. These women are professionals. These women, most of them have made six figures and probably more. Here's the thing. Just because that happened doesn't mean that it's over. And I don't want you, if that's you, to sit there and say, because that job is not here, that's it. That job was never your identity. That it was never the thing that made you worth it or worthy or valuable. It wasn't the job. That comes from God. Your royalty. You have to hear me when I say this to you. That does not come from people. It doesn't come from that business, that organization. It doesn't even come from your last name. Because there are some people, your family is wealth, the last name is great and all of these things. No, it doesn't come from that. It really does come from God. And it's high time that we start to partner with him. What do you really say about me, God? Who am I really supposed to be? And if you're in that moment right now, I promise you, it is not what you are looking at. It's not the experience that you're going through right now, where people may be saying things like, oh, that person is moneyless. I'm very serious about words. Don't let people say, take those words. You got to cast those words down. You are not moneyless. You are just going through a season of being rebuilt, a remake, sometimes becoming like broken down so that you can be built back up again. Sometimes experiencing that thing called rock bottom so that all the things that you thought, the things that are the people that you thought that were supposed to help you through it and didn't, that organization, that resource on the resource list where the phone number doesn't work, or the place, don't go to the church and the church is like, we don't help people here anymore. I'm telling you because I know some of you are going through this. What if, and this is a story I talk about often because this is the one that is highlighted to me. Like that widow with the oil who thought she had nothing. And someone asks her a question and says, what do you have in your house? That you finally start to look again and say, what do I have in my house? What do I have that I can sell? What book can I write? What course can I create and share with others? I thought I had nothing because that job isn't here anymore. I know what I'm talking about. I went through that, having to pivot from working at a job that I was at for 6.5 years because we had a situation where medically I had to make some changes. right? I had to do it not for me, but for my loved one. And so, in that moment of becoming a caregiver, in that moment of having to shift from a job that I was like, I'm just going to be here. No, sometimes you got to shift. And I'm not saying that it was easy to do it. I'm not saying that just like that caterpillar, I didn't have those moments where it wasn't working out. And if you find it that it's not working out, it's one of two things. Either you have to keep going at it and hitting that thing and keep asking and keep putting it up and being consistent, which is something that some of us do have a problem. We got to get rid of the problem of being consistent. Get rid of saying, maybe I shouldn't show up because you're looking around and saying, this is not where I thought I would be. I want you to start to look at the value that's on the inside of you. That value comes from God. And I'm going to keep saying this again. He never, ever, ever intended for us to look at an external thing, a job, or anything like that and say, this is where my value comes from. And it's a lot of people that you will meet if you are in the midst of what I call that messy middle, who are gloating about their job. I have a job. I have a house. I'm better than you, right? And it's some people, that's where they feel like their strength comes from, being mean to people who are struggling. And God will deal with them. I don't want you to focus on that. What I want you to do is forgive quickly those who you need to. Forgive yourself, because maybe some of you are saying, gosh, I knew I was supposed to have left that. I just didn't do it in the right timing. That could be you too. But I don't want you to focus on that. We want to have forward thinking. The words that I'm going to say to you a lot is faith up. If your faith is down here, the way to start to go from faith to faith and for your faith to be built up and for you to be stronger is for you to start to just operate in it, to own it. And in those moments where people look at you and say, why aren't you falling apart? Are they all right? What's wrong with them? You can say, this is grace. I am graced through this situation, and put your confidence, your hope, your dependency on God and keep going, because the caterpillar becomes a butterfly. So what's new and what's next for you too? There is something after this, but you have to keep going. All right. So that's it for now. I'm going to be talking more about this because I love to be authentic. I want this to be the space where you can come, where you can say, wow, I don't have to look or feel like I have it all together. I mean, look at the pom pom on top of my head right now, right? Does that make me less of a professional because I got a little pom pom? Oh my gosh, my nails aren't done. Who cares? Oh gosh, my face, I don't have all the make. Who cares? That doesn't make you who you are. You're valuable without those things. And I know that it's time to start speaking against that, because there's so many people who could even be in a better place, a wealthy place, a more confident place, but they are waiting for the perfect moment. And I love to say, don't wait for perfect. Perfect? For what? You don't have to be perfect. Your value doesn't come from that. Remember, it comes from God. So to every resilient queen, resilient warrior woman, resilient person out there, I want you to start to own your resiliency and to stand up in faith and get out of the stuff that the world and social media put on people to make them think that they weren't good enough because of a temporary circumstance. It's not true. So let's pivot towards our purpose, because maybe that's exactly where you needed to go in the first place. What if this is not just happening to you, but this moment in time is actually happening for you? I'll be talking more about this. We have a lot to talk about. Don't forget to subscribe. Share this with someone. Okay, I'm supposed to say these things. Subscribe, share this with someone, and go back and listen to the replay. And if you see any areas in your life where you have been going through doubt and questioning your value, your identity, and your worth, because you are in that number of the 300,000 or 600,000 women, or a woman who went through abandonment or betrayal, or that divorce is happening, or all of these things, and you're just trying to figure out, wow, I thought I was someone else. I thought that I was just going to be this married woman, or whatever it is that you are experiencing. Maybe it's the financial thing that happened. And now, you're trying to figure out how to rebuild because you lost almost everything, almost, except you. So that's good enough to start again. That's it for today. I know that might have been a lot, but we need to talk about this, okay? Let's go further. Talk soon.